Okay, hi guys. Welcome to the Limitless podcast. Joining us as always is your co-host, Dr. Matthew Preston. Hail up the people and Matthew.
Hey guys, what's good?
Great. And I'm Thaon Simms. And we have the top striker in the building, Shanice Williams. Welcome, Shanice. Welcome back.
Thank you. Always a pleasure.
Yeah, love having
Awesome.
Shanice
Glad
on.
to have you.
Love. Yeah, love having Shanice on. Shanice is no stranger. Guys, if you're like an OG Limitless subscriber fan, go back in our previous episodes, right? So I think it's top striker. I don't remember the names of the titles of those previous episodes, but those are really
I'll try to link
Yeah.
it.
yeah,
It's
we'll
okay.
link it. But those were some of our best performing episodes at the time. The people love to see you, Shanice. Welcome back. We
Thanks
should
for
have like a
having
little sound effect. Yeah, celebration. So
Hearing
today
it.
we'll be doing it. Wow, I can't believe we have that. That's kind of cool. Okay.
Yeah.
Just have that.
Okay. Well, yeah, right. But today we'll be doing stuff a bit differently. You guys will probably see from the title. Yeah. All right. Yeah, man. Freedom, etc. Yeah. So we'll be doing our 2025 stocks to watch. Yeah. So these are stocks that I guess all of us are watching, whether collectively, individually, and so on. We'll just be touching on, this isn't tickers, guys. If you want to see like deep dive and analysis into each company, you can follow our tickers series, and where we talk about individual stocks. So you can comment in the comments below, what stocks are you watching for 2025?
And
But
why?
yeah, and why? We'd like to know. We'd love to know. But in terms of us, I guess we'll start. And I think this is gonna be a really fun episode because there are some stocks that I feel like everyone's watching. There are some stocks that I feel like people have no idea, like what does that company do or so on. So I think this should be pretty good. Shanice, how you feeling?
Feel good. I mean, feel a little exposed because the stocks that I'm watching are actually the stocks that I'm invested in to go into next year. Oh, it's all good though. There's profit
Okay,
to share.
fair.
There's profit to
Yeah,
share.
there is. Very true. Very true. Very true. Okay. I would say similar sentiment. Some I'm just passively actively watching, not necessarily buying, but maybe looking to enter at the right time. So it is for me. It's all about, all right, do I see these signs lining up? Boom, let's get into it. But I guess maybe I'll start. I'll probably start with a company I've actually reviewed on tickers, and a lot of people know. I think I'll start with Dolla. I think Dolla is a great starting point for next year. Microfinance company. They do offer loans also with Ultra as their subsidiary. I think Ultra's growth has been exponential so far. And they pay consistent dividends. That's one thing I personally, and other people, especially the dividend investors, really, really love Dolla. I think they paid 3 dividends this year. And for some reason, I feel like next year they might just go for a 4th and just start paying quarterly dividends. So we will see. That's also another. I'm pretty sure whoever loves dividends, they must be looking at Dolla in their portfolio. In terms of, though, I'm not a big dividend investor, but I like that people love that. And for me, I'm more of a cap gains man. So I am looking to Dolla for more cap gains. They just closed their bond raise. So they raised basically $2 billion. I think it's about $2 billion in a bond recently. It was 1.9 or so. So let's call it 2 billion. And that's the most they've ever raised in their history, right? So that to me is kind of crazy that, I think IPO, they raised a $250 million GMD, yeah. and then they sold another $250 million.
They had a couple bonds before.
Yeah, and then they did a couple bonds. They did a $1 billion bond and so on. But yeah, see, $1.9 billion that they closed, because it was $1 billion at first, then they upsized 1.5, then they upsized again. So you know the demand is there.
Upsize.
That's rich. So yeah, I mean, when they finally have that cash and then they unlend that cash, and Preston and I were talking about it with a couple other people, you know, in big up Geo saying they could unlend it all in one quarter.
Geo's being
We're
on,
not.
you know, that.
Dr. Dolla.
He moved from Dr. Cygnus to Dr. Dolla.
He's $1 Dolla. It is Dr. Geo.
Yeah, it's Geo.
I think it's like he said it's the only stock he owns.
It might as well be. And I mean, if you're gonna own one stock, Dolla is not bad. If we're really being serious here.
I agree. You've been talking about Dolla actually, Shanice. I think you're the. I don't know where I heard you say Dolla. I don't know if it was on our podcast or just externally when we're talking, but you were just talking, or maybe when you were at Mayberry. Yes.
Probably.
Yes. I remember now. And you're talking about Dolla and so on. So I do think it's also a really good stock to have. And I mean, if their loan book now is, I think they just hit 3 billion. Yeah, their loan book right now is 3 billion.
Right?
Yeah,
like 3.1. Yeah,
3.1 billion, and then there is this 1.9.
Well, actually,
Access is at
the loan
about
book
5.7.
The loan book up to September was 3.1.
Yeah,
but I mean, you meant we're recording. Oh, wait, go again.
So that would be pre the last month.
Yeah. And the thing is, there was something that I think we were talking about in the group, Thaon, that on Dolla's earnings call, which was about mid-November, the CEO and the team were saying some interesting stuff, because I think I'll try to probably put the clip in if I can, but they said that they are on track to do, I think, 4.2 to 4.5 in their loan book by the end of December, which is crazy to me. Yeah. Because you realize, as you said, 3.1 billion end of September. So you're saying October, November, December, within 3 months, you would increase your loan book by over $1 billion. When, if you look at like what they've done in the past, like that's a big deal. Like that would be the most they've ever lent out in a quarter by far. If they hit that target. And the thing is, if the earnings call was mid-November, you should have an idea of you're already like halfway through the quarter. So my guess is that it's not like if they reach 3.1 by September, it's not like you reach 3.2 by mid-November. You're suddenly going to go from 3.2 to 4.2. It must be that you're somewhere on track towards that. That'd be my guess. So I kind of found that interesting. So I don't know if they'll actually hit that target. I guess we'll have to see when the report comes out. But that would be crazy if they could unlend that much amount and also do it prudently, because you don't want them just lend it to someone or businesses that aren't like good businesses and they're going to have an issue paying them. You'd want them to lend it to someone who can actually pay them so that they don't have to book any losses. Repeat?
I don't think Dolla has ever had that problem with collecting on the loans. Isn't that something that they boast about?
Yeah, they're pretty. I think their non-performing loan is it under 10%? I think they actually publish it like every report.
Yeah, man, it's always pretty low.
Yeah,
but the things you have to go through to get a loan from Dolla, I don't understand. Not just anybody can go there and borrow a certain amount of money. So they have a good screening process to get back the money that they lend. We really worry about them.
Yeah. Yep.
There's a portion of this report, Preston, that they were speaking about. I'm trying to remember, but I think with Dolla, it is possible. I mean, the bond in my head is also the Ultra bond, and when you look at Ultra, on average, they disperse loans valued at 30 mil. Like that's their average. So imagine 10 loans that they get for Ultra is 300 mil. You know,
Mm,
so when you think about it kind of like that, because they can lend up to, I think, 150 million.
mm,
So I see they could, if they think they're on track and they
mhm,
said it, you know, I don't see why they couldn't hit their targets. And
mm,
Ultra, I mean, when you look at even in this report, I believe they showed that same report. They showed what percentage come from like personal loans versus business loans. And for me, and they also show what, I think you can scroll all the way up. Yeah, this like this I think it's this section. Yeah, that section, perfect. And they show basically what I'm trying to remember where. I remember reading it in, I think it was this same report. But they showed the percentage that comes from, you know, personal loans versus business loans and which ones are asset backed, you know, what's the collateral. So it kind of bolsters, see, personal loans making up 12%, business loans are 88%
basically
of the total.
90%. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
business loans. And then how much is
Mm,
secured? 85% of the loans accounted for are secured.
You
So,
guys know what to
you
do?
know,
mm,
I mean, yeah, they're doing good stuff over there. They're doing pretty good stuff over there. Actually, them risk conscious portfolio and all of that. So,
mm,
um, so yeah, I mean, and then they get fresh cash. This is the most cash they've ever gotten. Price started to fall. So
I think it's disappointments from the report. Because the report wasn't,
all
I
that
think they
great.
had I think their cost, was it like their admin costs went up a lot? I think they had to open,
Mhm.
was it like they opened a new branch or something, and then they also had some expected credit losses. I think was related to like, was it Beryl or the hurricane and stuff, higher than the
Maybe,
usual amount.
yeah.
So I think that kind of, and then the thing is,
And
especially coming, I think the quarter before this was like really, really good. So it's
it
like
was
people were expecting, hey, you're on lending this money, you're doing this, you're gonna even make more profit. And then also people were, um remember there was I think there was talks about a spin-off of Ultra. And then if they were
Mhm.
gonna do it, then they were gonna, I think they had a board meeting coming up, and then that was related to like the dividend. But then if they wanted to say set a spin-off date or any of those stuff or ask for shareholder approval, it would have been to that. So I think it like the price had risen because of maybe speculation about Ultra being spun off, and then the reports wasn't so good, so it dipped.
Okay. It dipped, and the dividend wasn't so good when you compare it to
Yeah,
previous
yeah,
years
yeah,
on
yeah,
as
yeah.
well. So that also,
Mm,
There is
and
also
you
a
can look at
heavy,
the
wasn't there?
yeah, I
yeah.
think
There was a
it was like
heavy
three
sell at
dollars or something.
$3 and 2.90. Yeah,
Uh,
I guess they know how we
Maybe it's
know that.
games.
Yeah,
mm,
yeah, but I mean they
mm-hmm,
lost. I mean it was less. So this year that quarter Q3, they made what 55 mil profit, but last year when you compare it, it's 102 mil profit. So the
mm-hmm.
profits,
Profit
yeah,
half,
definitely, yeah, profit half,
basically half. Yeah.
yeah. But now they have fresh cash.
Mm,
So let's see. And this is the Christmas season,
mm-hmm,
where I think they could unlend quite a bit of money during this quarter. So we may not see those stellar profits for this quarter, but maybe next
mm-hmm.
quarter and then yeah. So I'm
Yeah,
I'm
because
I'm
last year the
interested to see.
Q4 wasn't so hot, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Because last year Q4 was 90 mil profit. And then if you think about it, other than this Q3, which was the July, August, September, which had Beryl, I guess, the hits from Beryl, and then the increased admin costs is from opening the
Yeah.
branch. If you look back to their Q2 was 144 mil profits. Their Q1 was 139.
Uh-huh.
So if they just try to, I guess, replicate that somewhat, profits would likely be higher. But I guess you're right that um, you're probably not gonna see the bigger profits, or you're gonna have to wait for time for them to unlend the money. So I would probably think their Q1, Q2 would start to look a lot better next year, so that you'd be seeing that.
In fact,
like
what you should
mid-year.
do, check the comparison between 2022 and 2023, their Q4, and then you'll see how profits were just flat. See, profits were
it
like
was
very
about
flat.
the
They're
same.
about the same.
Even
So
though
I'm not
revenues were higher.
expecting
Revenues were
exactly.
12% higher, but profits were flat.
Mm-hmm.
Admin
So
expenses went up.
I'm not expecting anything out the gate Q1, but you see Q2. Yeah, well, that Q1 report, sorry, Q1 report, not this Q4.
So that would be hold on.
So that would
Mid-May.
be mid-May. That mid-May report.
Well, up to
Let's
mid-May,
clip
because they
it.
kind of dropped theirs early.
Yeah, true.
They kind of dropped theirs early.
Yeah. But remember me saying this. We'll clip it.
Do you think they're gonna spin off Ultra next year?
Whether they do it or not, they don't need to.
I don't think next year.
I don't know if they will.
Because Shanice said, you don't think next year?
I think more 2026.
Yeah, because like in my head, just why? I mean, okay, yes, you collect some. Is it to access? Maybe it's to access more funding.
I was thinking the tax break though, because you realize if Dolla
will still have the tax break next year.
No, I know, but I'm saying not to say that they would spin it off next year. No, I'm just saying at some point, like, because Dolla listed 2022. It's 2022 they listed, right? So
good question.
2022.
Yes, 2022.
So they listed 2022. That means 2023, 2024, 25, 26, 27. They'll have their, because they're listed on the junior market rules said that, okay, if for the first once you follow the rules for the first 5 years, you're going to have no corporate income tax. And in the next 5 years, you're going to have half corporate income tax. So if Dolla is benefiting from that tax rate now, but what if, I do think that at some point it makes sense because you can grow the business and then Ultra, which seems to, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe in a few years Ultra is actually making more profit than Dolla, because I think when they're giving the breakdowns, it's like, try to remember what the last, I think it was like 45. Well, they have higher profit margins, but I think it's like, was it 45% of profit? Of Dolla, I'd have to check the transcript, but enough, I think, like, they could actually make more profit or the majority of the profit of Dolla. So then, I don't know, I was just thinking that if say Dolla rides out its tax break, or at least maybe the first 5 years of the no corporate income tax, and then they get just the next 5 years a half, Ultra could then spin off. And then if Ultra is the majority of the profits, you'd then be making, okay, your most profitable segment have no corporate income tax.
Yeah.
Versus if you didn't spin it off, your most profitable segment would have, depending on how long you wait, either half corporate income tax or no income tax. So that'd be like, well, the 25% of his full tax or 12.5% of his half tax. I was thinking on that end, it'd be pretty cool. And then also, I was thinking about this, and I think I asked them a question at their earnings call, but I don't think they understood it. I was thinking, you know how like you can get a secured loan against stocks.
Yeah.
If Dolla owns, like say Dolla owns 80% of Ultra, so they issue 20% of the company to the public. Could Dolla then use the Ultra shares to get like really good rates on loans? Because they'd own 80% of our company. It'd just be like like Cornerstone uses Barita for that. I'm not sure if there's any other listed companies, but I was thinking, couldn't they do something like that where you can get like a really nice loan rate on that? Because how much would the market value a company like Ultra at? If they have higher profit margins than Dolla, they value Dolla at the time of recording at 17 times earnings. You could actually maybe even do some numbers to say, okay, what it'd be valued at, or if it were to trade at maybe a similar PE and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. That was just my thoughts. I don't know if there's...
not bad speculation at all. That would be cool. I don't know if it's possible. But that would be an opportunity for real. Well, in terms of, I guess, my price predictions, at what, $3 now? I wouldn't be surprised if if the year is good next year, I could see it at $5 end of next year. I could see it. Yeah, I could see it at, that's what, 60,
So that's
66%. Yeah, that's 66%. No, it's if it's $3, I'm moving to 5. That's 2 over 3. That's 66%. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, 66% stock, 66% gain. But that's barring, then that's, you're saying no spin-off of Ultra, but just good profit, strong growth in Ultra's loan book. Okay.
Because this is $2 billion more on their loan book of $3 billion. So that would take them to $5 billion, which rivals Access at that point. So I mean, and they're way more profitable. I think the profitability compared to the loan book is close to like 20%. It's like 17% or something. It's like 20%. So they are very. See it's here. I think you have it.
I think it's 17. Well,
17%.
for 2023 it was 17%. I was doing some estimates though, because they said, remember I was telling you at the earnings call, they said 4.2 to 4.5 bill. So I was saying, okay, if they hit that by the end of this year, and then they said their target, I think, is to grow the loan book for 2025 by 50%. So if you use the 4.2, increase that by 50%, that'd be a 6.3 billion loan book. If you use the 4.5, 50%, that's a $6.75 billion loan book. If they had the same level of profitability, and I think this should actually be, well, not 15%, which actually in a way may be conservative, because I'm thinking if they end up lending more of the money to Ultra, and then Ultra has higher profit margins, then it may actually increase. But I was just saying, okay, use a baseline, which I think is somewhat conservative, of 15%. At the lower end target, could it have them just basically doing just under $1 billion? That's
profits.
Pretty big. And at $3 now, projected PE, you're buying at like 7 to 8 times earnings. At $5, it's 12 to 13 times, and the market is willing to buy it up as high as 17 times. So I guess it's to see how their next, like, if they can continue to manage their
admin
costs. You have to because you have to watch out for the costs. You have to also watch out for the expected credit losses if there's any major hurricanes or any other weird events and stuff like that could affect maybe the companies I lend out to. But yeah.
What's the junior market average right now? Still about
junior market average is, based on my money J8 today, it's at 22.
22.
Yeah.
I'd have no for
22. Main market is 18. Yeah.
Main market is 18. That sounds strange.
Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, I don't think Dolla is a bad pick. I don't think it's a bad pick.
Yeah.
One to watch.
One to watch. You have to just buy and believe if you really believe in it. But don't listen to us. Speak to your licensed financial advisor.
Speak to your licensed financial.
Not Shanice, right? You left them days. Aw. That's funny. I feel like you were my advisor. I've never really spoken to advisors at Mayberry, but yeah, you were my advisor. Yeah, you're probably the only person. Yeah, truly. Okay, who wants to go next? Shanice, you're looking. Yeah, you're looking like you.
Joking. Who am I gonna go with? Wigton. Wigton Wind Farm. Wigton Solar Farm.
Wigton Energy.
Wigton Energy Limited. So they primarily deal with wind energy, but they're now cementing themselves as top solar energy provider. Not even only in Jamaica, but they're looking even wider than that in the Caribbean. So they got a big deal the other day the 50-watt deal, and that definitely spikes some excitement around the stock. I think that's pretty good. What else happened in the industry? Oh, yeah, we'll bring it up. So they're one of 2 successful bidders that got that deal, and that's gonna be pushing them a lot over into next year. I definitely think their reports are also looking a lot nicer. The corporate income tax change for them moving from 33% to 25% going forward, that's also going to really like prop up their bottom line. So I think Wigton is definitely going to be one of those for next year. And just the stock price. I mean, we know how easy it is for a $1 stock to move to $2, $3 faster than a $10 stock to move to $20. So just that sentiment and how people really think about these low price stocks, they look like low hanging fruit, even though they're really not. But just how people think about these, it's really easy for them to jump to. It's really easy for Wigton to jump to $2 right now without you blink, and that's a $2 stock. And everything that they have doing, I think it can definitely push them to a $2 stock. New management, bunch of things happening with Wigton. Q?
I agree.
Yeah, I was showing you.
What is it?
$2 ambitious, but doable. I
thought $1 was ambitious, but here we are.
Also true. Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. Imagine buying
And they're
those
kind
50
of
cents.
positioning themselves to be a nice dividend paying stock as well.
Yeah, I think they paid out an extra dividend this year. Usually pay out
And
1 a
that's
year. They
also
paid out 2.
going forward.
I wonder who kind of pushing that dividend. I wonder is it the same person that's
Shanice.
pushing didividends in Dolla?
Here,
Is
so
that the
the
same?
top 10 shareholder limit get raised, so Shanice jump on it.
You guys already know.
10% shareholder cap, yeah. Nah, well, I see the thing
You don't
with
see her name
Mayberry
here.
being in it.
She's the 10th largest.
Oh,
gosh.
At this point, I
You see the
stopped
thing
buying
with
things on them.
yeah. You're probably this Cacao Holdings
Cacao Holdings, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
who has been increasing their stake for the past few quarters.
Cover blown.
Yeah.
Look at that. Cacao Holdings, 18 million units. Yeah, man. So yeah, I like that. I like the fact that MJE is #1 shareholder. You know, I see a lot of synergies there. Even like Dan, I remember watching was it an investor forum with the new CEO and Dan on it, and they were just talking about, Wigton. This is how I kind of knew they would get it, like be shortlisted and actually get the that bid, like win that bid. It's just based on, I guess, that just how they were speaking, and because I know if you don't get it, as we said, Preston, heads would roll. So they kind of really went for it. My only problem is the financing. I remember Preston and I spoke about this with Demetrius Fairman, big up Demetrius, and we were wondering how is it that they would finance building out this 50 megawatt solar like farm,
Yeah, no, he mentioned that dreaded 3 letters. I was like,
yeah,
bad word.
It ain't so, but we don't know.
Yeah.
Where you say could be out? Where you say Wigton rights issue?
I mean, it could be.
I was thinking like maybe
timing like that.
You mean like the National Insurance Fund? They have actually been buying a lot of stakes in some companies, like some big stakes, like with Cinco, NCB, Scotia, I think, and some other companies. They've been buying some stakes, but I don't think they've really been increasing their stake in Wigton. So I was kind of wondering, if there is like an equity raise, they have shareholders who I think would be willing to put some money in it. The NIF, MJE, maybe even Cacao Holdings. Cacao Holdings entered, but if they want to increase their stake meaningfully, because I think that's the company owned by Inter Energy, and Inter Energy is like really big in the energy space in like the Caribbean or the world. So it's like,
Latin America.
For them to get the amount of money that maybe makes a big deal for them, it's not going to be easy to buy from the queue without sending up the price. So I was like, if there was an equity raise, like a rights issue or APO, that could benefit them, because then they could easily get a big stake in the company. But then I was thinking APO versus rights issue. If they did an APO, and then like we know, I guess the effect that can have on the price. And then for those that don't know, like we did a whole 2-part series on rights issue versus APO, where we spoke with I guess call him like an investment banker, big up Julian, Morris and Dr. Doom. But then I was thinking, okay, MJE reports Wigton like as a decent part of their portfolio, no? So if the share price were to tank, then they would report that. So then they wouldn't really want the share price to tank. So I don't know. I was thinking about that, but I think Gary, the CEO of Wigton, well, like he was saying that minimum it would be an equity raise and debt raise. So he said there should be some amount of equity, but I think he said that they're still not sure. But I feel like they know. It's just they're not gonna say it. But yeah, I don't know. Like
I don't even buy the point with MJE, because they invested, I think, in NCB's APO too, and they
didn't. They just what I should say is I asked them, and then they said that somehow like they had already put. I think
they bought
I
at a
asked
higher
them like
price, or they bought
not just that they bought. They did buy at a high price on the APO, but I think when I asked them, I mean I should probably check. But I think what they were saying was that like the amount of exposure they had was good at the time or something like that. Maybe I can try to find the clip too. But I don't think but the thing is, remember what I think Chris and Gary, they were saying like, yo, they didn't want the APO, like made no sense. Yeah, like they were saying they should call off the APO and whatever.
Yeah.
So and then have you ever seen Mayberry do an APO? The last offer I think they did was a rights issue for Fosrich. But I don't think they have brokered an APO yet.
Yeah, I can't think of any.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But I can see maybe doing our bond raise for Wigton.
Yeah.
And public bond.
Uh-huh.
Yep. I could see maybe doing a bond raise for sure. They've done those before, for sure.
Yeah. Are you wondering? But my thing, I guess, I'm wondering with Wigton. So in terms of the timing, because you mentioned the 50 megawatts, so that's gonna take. I think they announced it basically end of November. When they were asked about timelines about it, I think they said 9 months to a year. So you'd be looking at basically end of 2025 for them to actually start generating the revenues and profits from that. And I know that something that you had mentioned was that they're going to change out, was it phase 1 of the turbines? They're going to switch that from
their output.
Yeah, they're going to switch that from wind to solar. So they're changing up, I guess, their energy mix. So I'm wondering about when those stuff are going into play, like that I think is going to take some time. So then I'm wondering, and then but some of the things we should mention is that there's supposed to be another bid. Could, yeah, because I guess they'd have like higher expenses and stuff. But they're also supposed to have, they're also supposed to have another bid. I think it's 168 megawatts coming out.
Oh, that's GPS?
More project.
No, the GPE is supposed to put out. The GPE is gonna. They had said within the financial year, which I guess would end March 2025. So this from the GPE website. This was April this year. They said another request for proposal for further 168 megawatts will be launched in the new financial year. So I'm waiting for something like this because I don't know how the split will be done. And I don't know if it's that, because Wigton got before, maybe there would be less. But I mean, if they give a competitive price, I don't see why not. I want to see how that 168 megawatts will get split, because suppose they split it, okay, 2 people can get it or 3 people. That's another big opportunity for Wigton. But then I guess there's also the process of that. It took a long time with the first bid and all that stuff before they actually got it. It took like almost like a year or so between when it came out and when they were pre-awarded and then awarded. So I guess I'm wondering about that and how that, like, I guess I'm worried that, okay, if nothing big happens for now, will the price, I guess, stay up at this point? I don't know.
Or if they start to, build it, or when they get the financing and like admin costs are gonna go up, you're gonna have to spend money on this equipment and so on. So you're gonna see maybe the reports a quarter of losses. I mean, I wouldn't mind at that point if the price starts to fall, because we know what's coming. But no dividends at one point. You see them recording losses. You're just like, all right, now is buying time. So I agree with you. Like, I think they
lower than.
Pardon me, Shanice?
I those them ending 2025 lower than $2. So.
Love that. Love that price prediction. Yeah. I think the only thing that could do that is if things just get significantly delayed. And that's just my only. Yeah, which happens. That's the problem. It just happens too regularly. But I feel like the CEO is serious. Sound like a serious man. He has a lot of experience in this industry.
Yeah, it's an OG.
Yeah,
exactly. To buy more shares, though.
Yeah. Tell him to buy on the market.
It showed that he bought some shares, but for a CEO, man, you need to buy some more.
100,000 shares.
Yeah.
He's probably giving those.
Facts.
He's not spending.
Yeah. To buy some more shares. I guess it'll be interesting though, because I want to see how the other shareholders, MJE, if you look at this, MJE is increasing, Victoria Mutual Building Society is increasing, Cacao increasing. So, and I'm looking to NIF to see if NIF would
spend our next
buy.
bag.
The thing is that I see like how they kind of buy. They don't really seem to necessarily buy from the market. It's more like, well, the big ones is like just big trades happen. Like they just buy from another shareholder.
Yeah. I guess another one to watch, right?
One watch.
Yeah. Could be a good dividend. I see them as a good dividend player.
Energy.
But the thing is, dividends not right now, but maybe in like
not now,
because they're gonna have to put more of the money to the
business.
projects right now. So it'd probably be maybe like a. Have you met if the next bit that we're talking about, that process, you realize that the whole process from the bid getting announced to them even getting awarded takes like a year. Then it probably takes them another year to build that out. If the bid hasn't come out, even if the bid came out by the end of this year, that means they may not know that they're awarded till end of 2025, and then that means they won't start building till or they won't finish building till like end of 2026, and then they won't start getting the money till basically early 2027. So depending on that, I feel like they're gonna put more of the money towards like the projects versus the dividends. Not to say that they wouldn't pay a dividend, but I would not expecting like a Transjam kind of yield right now. It's more like you have to build out the project and then reap the benefits from it.
Who do you think will help them with those solar projects and all these other projects, and that they've probably worked with before? That's also listed on the market. Is that a Siboney? Energy? IEC, yeah. IEC's done quite a bit of projects. They've done a project with them at least, that DBA portion. I think IEC is supposed to buy themselves or something like that. Innovative Energy Group. They're supposed to buy. I don't know if you can find that
The listed company is going to buy the non-listed
Yeah, by the
company.
non-listed company that's worth how much millions of dollars in like revenue and so on.
They said revenue? How
They
much was
said,
it?
yeah,
Oh,
1.4
they
billion annual revenue.
100% of its shares. So they bought it for 18 mil US or 2.8 billion Jamaican. Wow.
I
Holding company.
don't think it's been bought yet. Because I see as a result of this acquisition.
Entered into an agreement.
Yeah. So it's an agreement to buy. In fact, energy would actually be one of my stocks to watch. Just
For sure.
I guess we can segue into it. It would definitely be one of my stocks to watch. I think my only issue with energy is how they're going to raise the money again to buy this company, because they have publicly spoken and they've said the bad word already. So it's
I was actually just comparing their revenues, because if what they're saying that company that they bought has revenues of 1.4 billion.
Yes. Jamaican dollars.
Wigton for 2020, their 2024 financial year, which ended March 2024, did about 2 billion in revenue. So they're saying they're smaller than Wigton, but not that much smaller.
Yeah, but look at the top 10 of
They told us
energy.
profit though.
Yeah, they didn't tell us profit.
Yeah,
but the difference is the shares are much more tightly held. Like they're not, you can't get units. It's not like Wigton. There are units out there in the queue. Energy's a bit different. Like the stock price can fly. If they said
horrible.
Yeah, the float is tiny. And if tomorrow they said rights issue, that would definitely, it wouldn't even go $2. That would go $3 by the end of the week. What happened, Shanice?
I said $5 stock.
Yeah.
It would just keep,
definitely.
like, he wouldn't be able to get it to just keep going.
Because the same thing happened when it was Siboney. Yeah. When it was Siboney, it flew from cents way up to like $2.
Yeah.
From like 50 cents, 40 cents. So you're looking at IEG's
but you think
annual
it'll be
report.
a rights issue though?
No, unfortunately.
Who's in the top 10? For Siboney.
With the takeover bid
for energy, it's really just innovative energy company. And yeah, there's they're about just under 70% of the company. Thing is, like, if you look at it, they have been because I read in some articles where they were saying there was something where they said based on the amount of money they want to raise, it would be an APO, or would likely be an APO though. So yeah,
and, for a company that is an APO, it would probably make sense because of how the shares are distributed right now.
Want to bring in some outside investors.
Yeah, and look at top 10, like even number one shareholder, they would have to defend their stake. No, I'm saying number one, to defend their stake in a rights issue, they own how much? 70%? Yeah. And they're buying basically from themselves, so they'd have to raise that. It's just, they'd have to raise the money. Yeah. So they'd have to just renounce their rights, if anything, but then that, yeah. I don't know. I don't know these other people. I say Tav. I know Tav. Big up Tav. But, Wiltshire Consulting. Wiltshire also has a relationship with, I remember looking them up from before with IEC ages ago. Okay. But yeah, I mean, they also do a lot of projects. It's not just renewable energy. They do a lot of, they work on other plants, other turbines. They just make a lot of energy consumption. Those kind of, they make them more efficient. They undergo a lot of projects, not just in Jamaica, but in the entire Caribbean and so on. So they have quite a bit of money coming to them doing those kind of projects, and they've done it for years, literally years. So they just saw the dead company and just bought it. They saw Siboney and just bought it, and they're just
They're
on the
gonna issue a
market
lot
now.
of shares, though. You know,
Yeah,
when you mentioned they're gonna issue more shares than the current shares outstanding. I think right now it's like 546 mil shares, and they said they're gonna issue 850 mil shares. I'm guessing they're gonna do something like MFS where they convert the debt, because it's weird. Like the listed company doesn't really have any money, so they're gonna borrow money from the non-listed company to buy the non-listed company, and then instead of paying them the money back, they'll say, "Okay, you can just get a stake in us." Yeah, my thing with it is like, remember we're even talking about like the whole thing of APO being said as like a bad word, and that's just how like some people in the space and stuff are talking now. They're like, I'm just wondering, like, would people really? I'm trying to think of like the marketing of how would they market something like this that they could get, like, because like if you even look at the size of these energy projects, it's like a lot of money, you know. Like we're looking into Wigton. That Wigton 50 megawatt is going to be like a few $1 billion.
yeah.
So, I mean,
Would
even if
bring
they
in
raise
more
$1
revenue
billion,
than their wind right now, than wind is generating for them right now, because wind, it's 65 megawatts that they can generate up to, but that's a maximum of 65 megawatts, right? With solar, if they are more efficient and they actually capture a lot of the energy in terms of battery storage for Wigton, you could be looking at way more, because wind isn't as consistent as sun, and sun still isn't all that consistent. Of course, you can have cloud cover and those kind of stuff, but wind is still not as consistent as sun, especially, I guess, where they are. And I remember when we were talking to Demetrius, and he was saying, you know, it would be easier if they were out by the sea and so on. And I started to look up those kind of wind systems, and I'm like, yeah, they get way more wind
offshore
depending
wind.
on offshore wind, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I mean,
Wait, what are you saying this about? I got
yeah, I don't
I got
remember where we're
confused.
going with. Yeah, I remember. I don't remember my points. It's like that helium balloon effect when you let it go is kind of just gone. But tying it back to IEC,
I
you're
was just
right.
saying, like, in terms of the amount of money they'd want to raise, and then if people are thinking,
a lot of
APO is a bad
shares.
word, and like if you even look at like some of the other offerings, even like a IPO and stuff, they were keeping it open for a lot longer, and that was like a junior market company which automatically gets a tax break, a company that's had years of like, you know, revenues, profits, and that kind of stuff, versus this whole company where there's like a whole explanation. Is it like, you're gonna have to explain that, they're gonna issue the shares to maybe pay back the debt, if that's what they do. And it's not like there's an existing company. It's like, it was formed from Siboney. I'm wondering about like that perception, and then to give them billions of dollars or $1 billion, $2 billion. I don't know. I think the marketing around that would have to be really good. So I'm wondering, I guess, how that's gonna work still. The thing is, I was looking. Remember that we were mentioning the same Wigton, the 100 megawatts request for proposal from the GPE, IEC, the DBA, which is the company that the listed company is buying. They were actually a part of that. You know, they were one of the people that bid on it. They didn't win.
They didn't
but
win.
Let me
were they
pull
even
that up.
shortlisted?
No,
I feel like they weren't shortlisted.
pre-awarded.
Pre-award, yeah.
No, it's only 2 people pre-awarded. So
exactly.
You mean the
shortlisted?
No.
Like
no, they weren't.
Yeah.
See, they actually did 2 bids. They were gonna do how much is this? 10 megawatt and a 12 megawatt solar farm. They offered 2 and they didn't get through. So yeah, that would have been interesting if they got. Imagine if they had got approved, pre-awarded, and then awarded. I don't think Energy's share price would be where it is now.
It would still be the DBA, but fair.
Yeah, but I still don't think. I think there was an announcement related to DBA earlier this year, and the energy flew on that, didn't it? Like them getting some, I think it was one of the, what was it? Someone
I feel like it
one
was
of the,
the same. I think it was the same
one of the
thing
things with
of
the
them.
airport.
Oh,
It's one of the things with, I
I
think,
know
the
what you're talking
airport or
about.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
Same
Yeah.
one, Wigton got?
Yeah, I think it was them working together.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, I think so. But yeah, yeah, energy stocks. What do you think about, you mentioned tropical?
No.
Them also have an APO now?
Yeah.
Hey. It's not an APO. It's a secondary offering, Shanice, okay? A
Already.
secondary offering.
Are they moving to the main market? Because that's going to be a huge secondary offering for them.
Yeah.
It's going to be also
Yeah.
$2 billion, I think. Well, $2 billion.
Yeah. When you
Did they say
look
how
at it,
much? The price probably gonna be, yeah, I think it's a good amount to, wait, did you watch, you know what I'm talking about? The Alexander Melville on, he had an interview with Kalila on Taking Stock.
taking stock.
I think I missed that.
Yeah, did you watch it? Oh, that's
Oh,
so the joke was, he was asked about like the APO, and he was saying that, oh, is the share price gonna stagnate or something like that? And then he was saying that, oh, he was one who actually said, which is what I've been referencing. I'll try to put a clip in so it will make sense.
So does that move to the main market? And you spoke about raising more equity. Does that mean you're going to raise more equity on the market? You're going to do that publicly or privately?
Publicly, yeah. Our
So that's
intention is to raise money publicly, and we've submitted prospectus with the FSC and all the agencies, and hopefully in January of next year we will be looking to raise some funds. Yeah, and that would then pay down the bridge loan which we took to acquire the company in California.
So that's going to be an APO or a rights issue?
It's going to be what I call a secondary offering.
Okay.
Which is the same as an APO, but the fact is it's just a secondary offering. APO is like a bad word in Jamaica.
It's only because they haven't performed very well, but I don't think it's necessarily a bad word.
So I think that the reason has been like most of them would do, or historically, APOs have not been tied or to growth opportunities. And if they have been tied to growth opportunities, then the growth opportunities did not go as planned. We've done it the reverse, where we levered up, bought the asset, have shown the growth, and then now doing the APO. So to delever the acquisition, and that delevering, I think we paid something like $400 million in interest since buying that company, that we will then probably pay down like almost half of that interest. So that 200 million will drop straight to the bottom line after our APO, just making us more profitable, which I think will be advantageous to all stakeholders.
Absolutely.
He was saying that APO is a bad word in Jamaica now. And he's saying that, no, we won't be doing an APO, will be a secondary offering.
Yes, a bad word in Jamaica,
Yeah.
oh my
How
gosh.
much debt is it? I'm trying to look at this is short-term loan. This is 2 billion.
Tropical.
Is this and a non-current liability? Oh no, long-term loan, 2.6 billion. Huh? Hold on, note 10, note 11. Yeah, it'll probably be a few billion still.
It's
If
going.
it's a good amount of shares.
Yeah, so Tropical isn't really on my stocks. I like the company and I like how ambitious they are. Going for that US
raise that they're going to have.
Yeah. That's the only reason.
Otherwise, they would have.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
funny, because I remember I was looking at them, like, was it end of last year? And I was looking at, energy stocks, Wigton, energy, and Tropical. But then I was like, okay, Tropical is saying they're going to do APO, so then I was kind of like, oh, damn. But if you look at it, because the APO hasn't happened this year, the stock over the last year is up 40%. So it's actually, it could have, maybe if I didn't hear about that or something, I could have made some money off of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's a risk you take, yo. If you don't want to take that risk, you don't want to take that risk.
Yeah.
I
feel like we should move a bit faster. We're close to the hour mark,
Yeah.
and we've only gone through like two. I guess if you call IEC one, but we've only gone through like three
This
stocks.
is the third.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go. Which stock to pick?
Yeah, we'll do three.
Okay, I'll pick one. I'll do Indus Pharma. Yeah,
First time
Indus
talking
Pharma.
about it publicly. Oh gosh.
No, we did an episode. Remember, I did an episode on it. Well,
You did an episode on the drug.
Yeah, the drug.
Regadenoson. Talk to us about
Yes.
Indis, Preston. Why do you like Indis so much?
So I'm watching Indus. Indus Pharma, they are a distributor of generic drugs in Jamaica right now. But earlier this year, when was it? This was in September this year. They announced that, well, they had said in the past that I think they had raised like a bond. And then part of that bond, maybe like the bond was maybe like a year or two ago. Part of that bond was to finance development of a generic form of a drug. So how the drugs usually work is that you have, say there's an initial company that they're like, hey, we want to make a new drug that no one has ever heard of. Say it's a heart drug. They have to spend a lot of money researching it, developing it. And when they then make that drug, once the FDA, Federal Drug Administration, says, okay, the drug is safe, it works, you can sell it, they usually get a time period where they are the only company that can sell it. But that it's a time, it's not infinite. Usually it's 20 years, but the thing is the 20 years technically includes part of time used to develop it, and it takes sometimes years to develop it. So Indies was one of those companies that said, hey, this drug that maybe someone else made, we want to make our own version of it. So they partnered with like some lab. The lab developed it, tested it. The FDA says, yeah, man, your drug is safe. You can sell it in the US. And that drug is called Regadenoson. The adenosine, your body makes something called adenosine. And essentially, it's almost like we're trying to make another version, or we're making a synthetic version of something your body normally makes. And essentially, it's used in some types of heart tests. So if you want to, say someone has like a blood vessel in their heart, and it's blocked up because they've been eating poorly for years, lots of KFC, Popeyes, Burger King, all of that. It'll block up the arteries, the blood vessels that give blood to your heart, and your heart needs blood just like everyone else. So to help test for that, you can like have someone exercise, or you can give them drugs like Regadenoson, and Regadenoson is the preferred drug because of like its side effects. It doesn't really have that many side effects, and it's safe in a lot of people. So essentially, it's a heart drug. It's commonly used all across America, all across the world. Indies is now going to be one of those people to make it and sell it in the United States. And if you look at the size of the market, I think the market last year was like 600 million US. But then technically when the generic drugs get lifted, it should then decrease because the drugs are going to get cheaper really. That's usually the benefit of the generic drugs versus the brand name drug. So essentially they are going to be selling a drug in a market that's going to be huge. And so if they can even get a small part of that market share, I think I had done some numbers because the CEO actually, I'd love to have him on. We need to try to talk to him. He gave some projections in terms of like how much money they could make from selling the drug, or like they have some revenue targets. So Indies, I'm showing on screen, Indies for their financial year, which ended October 2023, they did about $1 billion Jamaican in revenue and about 200 million profit, right? That's a 20% profit margin. He gave projections in I think it's a Gleaner or Observer article. He was saying on the lower end, conservatively, they think they could double revenues. They could do 2 billion in revenue. And he was saying they could do similar level of profitability. So they could essentially double their profits. But he was saying he thinks a more realistic estimate, I think, was 3 billion. So if they do 3 billion revenue, that would mean they could triple their revenue, and they would, triple. If they hold the same net profit margins, they could essentially triple their profit. They could make in 600 mil. So if this drug, if they're able, I think they said they're like working with some. They released a report recently where they said that they're in the late stages of like signing a deal with a distributor or with distributors.
Yeah.
So this report came out October. So I want to see if they can, because I said if the market is so huge, they don't need a big part of it. The US is a very big country. Maybe there's some hospitals or some imaging centers where, okay, because they aren't as big, maybe some of the bigger companies that sell the drug don't necessarily put much attention to them, and maybe indies can kind of try to squeeze in there. One of the things I was even watching is that for example, some drugs, like with the whole, you guys have been following like the US elections and stuff with like Trump. I know he's like threatening tariffs on certain countries. So he's been threatening, I think, China, Mexico, Canada. So I'm trying to find like if some of the, I was thinking that, I was reading an article that was saying like because a lot of generic drugs are made in India, India actually thinks that they could like benefit from that, from the tariffs, because if he doesn't put tariffs on India, he may put tariffs on other countries. And if, for example, there's other competitors that make their drug in another country and then it raises the price of their drug, maybe Indies could kind of sweep in because theirs is made in India. I don't know. But yeah, I guess it's to see really if they can get a decent piece of that market share. The market has reacted positively. You can see, I'm showing on my screen, like when they announced, I think it was like $2.66. Today we're recording, it's $3.39. And the queue is
drying up.
Pretty, wow. Yeah, the queue is getting drier still. So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see, if they do hit the profit targets, I think this could be like a $5 stock still. But I guess we'll see. It's really to see if they can break into the US market, continue their current business in Jamaica. Yeah.
What's crazy, I think the craziest part about Indies is who is in there, is the top 10. Like if you look at their top 10 and what percentage is in the top 10, you'll realize that, there
tightly
are
held.
No units out there. It's so tightly held. Like over 90% of the units are in top 10. There are only like 100 million share units outside of top 10. So that just means, honestly, that price could possibly move very quickly, very fast, very, very fast. Because if you look at top 10, I don't see anybody selling in top 10.
I think
right?
GK sold though. GK sold in the most recent. This isn't up
Pretty
to date
sure
on here.
His wife would be buying more, right? Mrs. Vishnu, I remember her name is Vishnu Mapuri. And I know she's in top 10. Biopris holds most of it, of course. It's just, I don't know. I like the stock. They pay dividends, right?
Yeah, they actually pay decent.
They pay
and I'm trying
very
to say,
decent.
It's a decent
and so if they
dividend.
do that, yeah, so if they hit some of those profit targets that do well, they may pay a very nice dividend.
I think
Very
they're
nice dividend.
what, 2-3%? You?
Above
Let me see.
3%.
3
At this
points.
price, it's 3 point. They paid 3.24. And this is at this price, meaning at the $3.40 that we're basically at.
I was doing some estimates because for their 2023, they paid out like 70% of profit as a dividend. If they hit the lower end target, that was a $2 billion revenue, and they do a similar payout, they'd be paying about $290 million in a dividend, and at like a $3 price, that is a yield of 7.28% before fees.
Yeah. Heavy. I
Yeah.
only pay once a year, but if you're getting a 7% yield,
Yeah. And the thing is, like, if you think about it too, like, one of the things I should mention is that with the whole heart in, like, people are getting, a lot of cardiac or heart disease and stuff. So it's not really something that I see,
Not
going
what
away, the need for something like that.
worldwide.
Repeat?
Isn't that the number one thing that kills people worldwide?
Yeah, in a lot of countries, it's the number one killer, heart disease,
Mhm.
cancer,
Even in
and stuff
Jamaica.
like that. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, in
Yeah,
Jamaica it is.
Sure. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
in the US as well, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. The US is it's a big,
And it's just
I
growing.
think it's, yeah. And then if you look at how much people, are unhealthy, obese, like how many people in the US, yeah, heart disease is the leading cause of death in the United States, 22% of all deaths in 2023. And if you look at
Mhm.
just things like obesity are associated with having heart disease, if you look at just how many people are obese in the United States,
Diabetes,
and it's
hypertension.
hypertension, diabetes, all of those are risk factors for heart disease. So you have all these risk factors that are likely increasing. So I do think it's going to be something that's needed. The real question is, can they try to break into that market? They don't really have to, it's kind of like who else went into the US? Broilers, I guess.
Mhm.
Broilers went into yeah. And then they're not a big part of the US market, but it's making them almost more money than they make in Jamaica. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
In this.
that's
Yeah, I like the stock
Like
too.
this. I'm not that I don't still have shares. I'd love to get back some.
Come buy
But that-
mine. I'll sell you some.
to buy some back.
When you may
what
get a
price?
chance.
What price is selling at Preston?
10. Price gone up from last time,
Price gone up. Tell us, what's your prediction for next year?
So if they settle the contract with the distributor, hopefully by the end of this year, and I think that was their target, and you start to see, you probably wouldn't really see the real benefit of it till their quarter 2 report.
Ooh. Mhm.
Yeah, which you wouldn't see till basically like mid-year next year. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised that if those things come into play, they break in with the drug, do well, barring any, I guess, issues, that could be like maybe a $5 stock. Yeah.
Wow, that's super conservative, but I like that.
Which is very
I like that.
conservative.
That is actually very conservative. I was thinking
like-
you're gonna sell like $6-7 stock, but 5 is good. 5 is cute. Cause do you see anybody else selling? I don't really see anyone selling.
I don't know. We'll see. The buyers aren't really meeting it up yet. So even though the
We're
sell
early.
queue is kind of,
We're pretty
yeah, I
early
was just
though.
saying that even though the sell queue is kind of scanty, the buyers aren't really meeting up with it yet. So it's not really hard for it to drop back. So that's why I was saying that Shanice may be able to get some units. Maybe
Try.
like
Shanice
$3 low.
Have a little strategy to get some. Hopefully it works out.
Yeah. We say put in $1 million buy at like 310.
No. You guys don't know. So try buy some shares on Indeed when it's the right time.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm annoyed that I don't have more, but there was a sell down one of the days. I think I caught it. It was above 3 and it sold down to like 2. I
Like
literally got filled the
8.
right bit. Yeah, I don't know if it halted or so. But I remember I got some right before like it cut off down here, and I'm like, I got it at like 290 or so, and I was like, finally, yes.
Okay.
But yeah.
Good volumes?
Okay volumes, not bad volumes. Let's say that. Not bad. Not bad for me. Probably bad for Shanice, but not bad for me. Jokes.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Do like in this too. I would put that at, if everything goes right, I put that like definitely you're being very conservative. I'd say $6. If all goes well, because they're already on their way to, I don't see them not hitting $4 by end of Q1 of next year. And then when that Q2 report comes out, where you would, if everything is sorted by that time, which kind of predicting that would by Q2. Yeah, that would, at that point, I see it going to $5. End of year, yeah, $6. Worse, when the dividends start to pay out, bro. Like, imagine if that's their flagship, and then they said, let's just pay an interim dividend. That's how you know they're bossy. Like, it's not like the regular dividend. This is an interim dividend, and they're probably paying it, probably paying out the same amount that they paid last year. So yeah, no, I could see this as a $6 stock for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. On to the next one. Anybody else has any takers?
I think you can go, Sam.
Can probably keep the same order, because you went first, and then
True.
Shanice, and then me.
But I also did too. You guys need to catch up.
Are you want me to go?
We have quite a bit. We have a huge pool of stocks, so we can choose anyone. Yeah.
We're gonna have to narrow it down to a couple
For sure.
All right, let's go with